Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. It's Windsor from the Girl Scouts of San Gorgonio Council, and it is a Facebook Live today, or on YouTube, wherever you're watching our live. And today is our second session of March, and today, or this year, or sorry, what am I saying? My words are so off today. Um, this month, we are celebrating National Girl Scout Week. I believe next week on the 12th is Girl Scout birthday. And so this month, all of our topics are related in some way to either National Girl Scout Week or just celebrating and recognizing Girl Scouts in our lives and others' lives, and ways you can just recognize the impact it has on your own life. We're talking about different topics related to National Girl Scout Week. And each year during that week, Girl Scouts have had a tradition of celebrating with faith communities. So if you know anything about National Girl Scout Week, you might have heard of maybe Girl Scout Sunday or Girl Scout Sabbath or something related to that. So that is what the topic of our today's session is. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about, how you can celebrate faith within Girl Scouts for yourself. And how you can be recognized within your own places of worship, or how you can just learn more about different faiths that your fellow Girl Scouts may practice. So that is today's topic. But before I get started going into more detail, it is important to note that Girl Scouts is a secular organization. Secular is a word that just means that the activities or other things just have no religious or spiritual basis. So the actions that we as Girl Scouts take, whether it's to practice the law or the promise, or to be kind to one another, or anything that we do is not based on any religious or spiritual belief. Of course, we believe that, to being kind to other people, there's definitely parts of that in, a religion that you may practice or your own spiritual belief, but it is not because of that Girl Scouts, has certain, in our promise or in our law. It is not because it's based on any particular religion or belief. So we are a secular organization. However, as a secular organization, we do encourage girls of any faith to practice their faith the way they believe, as religious freedom as part of our own constitution. In the United States, we have religious freedom, so we encourage girls to follow their faith, and to follow those tenets, as as well as following the Girl Scout law and connecting them together in any way that they feel is empowering for them. And so that is kind of how you have that connection between National Girl Scout Week and those, faiths like Sabbath and Sunday, or Juma, and, having Girl Scouting, even though we are secular. So I'm trying to explain this the best that I can. And if I use any miswording, I apologize in advance. I'm trying to be as as politically correct as possible. I know that's probably not even the right word way to describe it, but just trying to make it so that we can have a discussion about faith and faith days without it being focusing on one particular religion or one particular belief. So everything in Girl Scouting is mainly based on the Girl Scout promise and the Girl Scout law. And you might find that includes many of the principles and values that are common across religions. Something as being honest, fair to others, being a friend to your neighbor, helping others out. These are things that you find with most major religions. Of course, there's exceptions to that. You do find people that use religion, or their religious, or their particular religious belief, or what they believe is a religious belief, to foster discrimination or foster hatred or things like that. But when you look at kind of the core beliefs of most religions, they really do have a common principle and value of kindness and helping others and being good to other people. So and that's true of the Girl Scout promise and the Girl Scout law, to be friendly to everyone, be helpful, whether they practice the same religion as you or not. So that's how we're going to interpret that, and try to, hope that, you know, uh, those kind of individuals who just decide to interpret their own religion, or interpret um, their own beliefs, in and channel them in a way of hatred or discrimination or prejudice. Um, you know, we're hoping that, for the vast majority of people, that their faith is empowering their kindness. But yes, so, and a huge part of that is, maybe donating time or donating positive energy to helping others, and that is a huge part of Girl Scouting. Um, and because of this, and because there can be that connection between, your um, uh, Girl Scouting and your own religious belief and faith, and your own, spirituality. Um, we as Girl Scouts, are given the opportunity, during National Girl Scout Week, to make that connection very clear. And you will hear about Girl Scout Sunday, or Girl Scout Sabbath, or Girl Scout Juma, and the Juma. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. But these are days, connected to, three major religions that we find. So Girl Scout Sunday, is focusing on, more Christianic religions. That practice on Sundays. You hear about Sunday church. Sabbath, going for people who practice, Judaism or Judaistic, race religions. And Juma is, Sunday. Sabbath is celebrated on Saturday, or observed on Saturday, and Juma is, practiced on a Friday, and that is a holy day or religious day for, individuals that practice, the religion of, Islam. So those are kind of three major days, but, depending on what your particular religion is, if there is one holy day of, or one, day out of the week that is a little bit more important, or you practice more of your religion on that day, these are a day during that week that you can kind of make that connection, or take that as an opportunity to be recognized within your own faith, or within your faith, or within your, place of worship, and within your congregation, whether that be in a church or a synagogue or a mosque, or, some other place that you might meet. And you can do that by simply wearing your uniform, if that is appropriate with your faith. There might be, an aspect of your faith that makes it so that you are limited, or you are restricted to what you may wear. You might find, some restrict the wearing of a uniform while practicing. So if that is true, then of course you would not wear your uniform. But if you do, taking that opportunity to go and you wear your uniform so that people can recognize you as a Girl Scout, and recognize, all of the work and recognitions that you have earned, and so that people can see that that is something that is an important aspect of your life. Um, but you can also do it in other ways. So you can reach out to your, place of worship. And, there are also recognitions that certain religious groups, or, that, give to members of their congregations, or of their, people who practice their particular, religion, that are also scouts. So, for example, if you are, a member of, say, the Roman Catholic Church, there are certain recognitions, like, there are certain particular medals that you can, earn, because you are a scout. And that is true of other, churches, and other religions, and they all usually will have some sort of either office, or, mission, or ministry, or, those churches will have, or those, places of, will have, information for their scouts, and to learn about those recognitions. And we will actually be talking, more about those recognitions next Wednesday. And so we'll be talking about those recognitions that you can earn either through Girl Scouting, or through your, faith or congregation will, those recognitions they have in particular for scouts. So we will talk about those. But this is also a time, so during that week, you can also, if your troop usually meets in a place of worship, so if your traditional meeting place might be in a church or it might be in a Jewish temple or something like that, you might take that time and introduce yourselves to the congregation, whether you're members of that congregation or not. And this could be a really great opportunity to kind of introduce yourself to the congregation, to the leaders of that church, or other, yeah, the leaders of that congregation, and talk about, what you've been doing, any service projects that you're currently working on, how they can get included, or just make yourself known to that congregation so that they recognize that there's actually a scout troop affiliated with their place of worship, whether or not the members of the troop are, members of the congregation or not. I know for myself, I, was not, the church or the troop that I was a part of met at a church that I was not a part of. But sometimes I would attend masses there. Because of, we might have events or something like that. So I was actually familiar with some of the people in their congregation, even though but they were practicing a different faith than my own. So it is a really nice opportunity to kind of get to know these people that, are affiliated or, in part of your life. So that's a really great opportunity. It's also really important time to, learn about other religions. That was a really great opportunity to recognize that there are people who practice a religion that is different than yours. And, that in many ways they might have beliefs that are similar in the sense that they believe in the same principles of kindness and helping others and donating their time and that sort of thing. But it's also really nice to take the time to educate yourself about different religions, because the more we educate ourselves about the beliefs of others, and this means that the least likely that we will be prejudiced towards one another. We'll have higher levels of tolerance with one another, because we do practice for religious freedom in our country, which is the right to practice any religion you choose, or to live without any religion at all. That's a choice that you have. And so we want to be respectful of that. And the more knowledge you have about other people, the least likely you are to be prejudice, which is an opinion, or having insufficient information, not based on fact or actual experience, or you might make assumptions about people based on what they look like, or what you believe their beliefs are. And so it's better to actually get accurate information, and be knowledgeable, based on actual based on what they believe, not just what you've heard they believe, if that makes any sense. And no matter what, knowing more about other people means that you have more tolerance. You have fair, open, kind of objective attitude towards other people's beliefs, opinions, practices, different, and their differences from you. Knowing more is always, there's so much power in knowledge, particularly about, talking about religious diversity. This also might be a time that maybe in your troop you want to talk about religious diversity, talk about different religions. Maybe whether there are girls within your troop that all practice different religions or all the same religion. It's a really great time to, talk about that, and why it's important to, have at least an understanding, or not be prejudiced against others based on their religion or their spiritual beliefs. You might decide that you want to have a whole session about that. So maybe start off by making a whole list of all the different religions that you can think of. And there might actually be more religions that exist in that people believe or follow that you might not have thought of, or and then talk about it, and research those religions using reliable and accurate information. Of course, there's a lot of information and there's a lot of ways to get inaccurate information, but do the research to find accurate sources, and most of that might come from the religious organization itself. Like they might have a fact sheet that they're sharing with others, so that others are have more information about, or accurate information about their particular about the beliefs. And you can share, yeah, and things could be. That facts that you could share are, what the major beliefs are within that religion, what sacred texts that they might read or follow, different festivals or ceremonies, maybe religious days that they observe, rituals that are common, clothing that they wear that, identifies, either their faith, their religious practice, maybe, um, who they are within their congregation. That might be something to know, and just where they practice or their places of worship, where they pray, when they pray, how they pray. And that actually can be really informative to members of your troop, because they might find that they're learning something that they didn't know before. And it also makes it so that you can be um, more respectful of other people's religions and their other beliefs. And that's super important, because when you understand maybe an aspect of someone else's, how someone else practices their spiritual beliefs, then you can be respectful of them. So you could make it so that you're not scheduling troop meetings at the same time that would coincide with someone else's. Perhaps they have church on Sunday mornings, or they go to they celebrate, they go and they practice Sabbath on a particular time on a Saturday. Or if they they are practicing Muslim, they pray 5 times a day at a certain time, and they usually do this in a special quiet place, facing a particular direction. And knowing that maybe you're going to be at a special event, and a member of your troop might need to go off and pray, and explaining why that would be, and making sure that you're being respectful, and that if they need to if they're leaving to practice their faith, that you're making sure that they don't feel excluded because of it. They feel included, and you're sharing that information that they might have missed, or just making sure that you're working around other people's beliefs, so you're being respectful of their beliefs. So that was a lot of information. I do apologize if I have misspoken at any point. I would love to actually see any, comments or anything you have. If you're someone who practices any particular faith, and how you find that it connects with your own Girl Scouting experience, or how you, have made a point to educate yourself about, different faiths and beliefs, or something that you might have done within Girl Scouting to learn about it. I would love to hear about it. And the last thing I just wanted to talk about was the Girl Scout Promise. So I actually wrote it down, and this is the official version of the Girl Scout Promise. So you might see it written in different ways, but if you ever look up the official Girl Scout Promise, you will see that it says, "On my honor, I will try to serve God." God is capitalized, and it has an asterisk after it. I actually wrote this down at the bottom, and that the asterisk indicates that any member may substitute the word God in accordance with their own spiritual beliefs. So this is the official version, and so if you are saying the Girl Scout Promise, and you want to substitute the word God for the name of any particular God, you might say Allah instead of God, or you might to serve gods, plural, if you follow a polytheistic religion. So this is important to know, to know that there is an aspect of making the promise work for your personal spiritual beliefs, and some people might not believe in God at all, and they might exclude to serve God completely from their promise, when they say the promise. So this is just something to note, that is part of Girl Scouting, that we are a secular organization, but at every time we are trying as hard as we can to make sure that everyone has the freedom to follow whatever faith or spiritual belief that they personally hold within them, or practice. So um, that was just as much information as I could possibly pack into this Facebook or this live. I would love to see if you have any comments or questions or concerns or anything like that. Again, I've tried to educate myself to the best of my ability, but I also recognize that I misspeak, and I, might have used wrong words or wrong pronunciation within this session. So I do apologize for that, and I would love to be corrected if that is the case. So, um, as I said, we will have another session about faith recognitions next Wednesday. So that will not be by me; that will be by another member of our program team, and they'll be talking about some faith recognitions that you can earn, including the "My Promise, My Faith" pin that Girl Scouts gives out, and that you can earn, and as well as faith recognitions that faiths give to scouts. And then after that, we have our sessions are just going to be about scouting in general. So we're going to be talking about Girl Scout birthday, which will be on the 12th. That's going to be really exciting, an hour-long session. But we will also be having sessions talking to alumni, looking at some Girl Scout history, and just celebrating girls in other ways that are not faith-based. So just don't think that the entire month is about celebrating faiths and things like that. But you can also read all of the descriptions for our lives this month on Facebook, as well as on our website, and that is the Girl Scouts of San Gorgonio Council. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. It's Friday. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you next week on Wednesday for another live. And goodbye.